Sippers, welcome to another episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. It's a great day because number one, we're doing the podcast. Number two, the sun is shining outside. It's reminding me of Calypsos, Soleros, all the goodness, ice pops, mini milks. Oh my god, you couldn't really go wrong with a mini milk. But yeah, you've got the Magnums, which are kind of like the Ferraris of the ice lolly world. But mini milk, which is very much, a Corsa, it does the job. You know what I mean? It gets you from A to B. It satisfies that summer hunger. What about a tin of Lilt? Oh my god, it's that. Sippers, welcome to another episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. Another one. We're doing 3 of these a week, and I've got to say, it's a lot of fun. If you're watching the video episode, but if you're listening to the audio and you're going, maybe I should listen to the video episode, let me just tell you, I'm in a vest. So I don't know what you want to do with that information, but I would get over to the video if I were you. Chicago Bulls representing my man, Michael Jackson. I'd be a big basketball fan, and I know that Mike Jackson used to moonwalk his way up and down the court, so he's my number one. Also my voice broke when I said one there, which is great. What actually is great is the sun is shining. Sun is shining. I don't know the next bit. Weather is sweet. To the rescue, here I am. I like that song, but I've only listened to it maybe 7 times. And I've never actually sought it out to specifically listen to, but I might now, because I enjoyed singing it there, and I'm sure you guys enjoyed it. What about, I've been putting up videos on Instagram and stuff and Twitter where I'm singing, obviously badly on purpose, but pretending that I think I'm a good singer, even though the reality is I actually do think I'm an alright singer, and I'm doing these bad videos, but I actually don't think it sounds that bad. I don't know, whatever. But what about whenever some people leave constructive feedback, like slightly older people who follow me, and say oh, maybe if you're not so nasally, maybe you're not so nasally, and maybe that key's maybe not right, and I'm going, oh, is this not class? Oh, right, okay. Thank you very much, Brenda. It's a lovely day outside. You're not going to believe this, but the money toad has just been lying back on his lily pad getting those rays. I like it. I know I'm going to look like a crocodile skin handbag whenever I'm 42, but it's the price you got to pay. But I'm creamed up. I always get a different male neighbour to cream me up every time. And I just knock on doors around the street. Alright, mate, how are you? Hiya, could you get my back? Just different neighbours every time. Some are keen, some aren't. One guy fucking loves it. He even does my back in winter. He comes round to do it. I was like, Kevin, I don't know. It's middle of December. I don't know if I need it. He's like, oh, don't worry. Don't know. Nearly did a very stereotypically camp voice there, but I didn't, and that's something that we should all be applauded for. I also have a tea. Don't think the sippers think that just because it's a lovely summer's day outside that I'm just drinking like Lilt and what are other summery drinks? Vanilla Coke? That's nothing to do with summer, but you still have to enjoy a nice cup of tea during the summer as well. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode last week or earlier this week with Shane Gillis, American stand-up Shane Gillis. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it or watch that yet, it's very much online. He was a load of fun and got some nice feedback on that episode. Guests coming up, I don't really know. I've sort of we recorded like a bit of a batch, and I haven't which is what people in Ballymena say for bitch, smack my batch up, that's why no one has ever come from Ballymena singing in their own voice, have I told you lately that I love you, but I will get some more guests set up. And we'll roll those out, and then I'm gonna do some with comedian friends as well, because I think they kind of go down nice, The boys, get some of the boys on. Yeah, what I'm gonna do today, it's a solo episode. I'm by myself. I'm rambling a bit. That's kind of what it is. Before we get into it, all I gotta say is, next Friday. I know a lot of people love the rave lockdown we did, me and Dave Elliott and BBC Radio Ulster. And it went away, because our contracts kind of ran out and they put something else on in that time. And all I'll say is, next Friday, if the weather's good, you might have a good soundtrack out in the garden. And we'll leave it there. I don't know. No, I don't know anything more than you guys do. I mean, I definitely do. But all I'll say is, let's keep her between the hedges. And yeah, next Friday, you know what I'm saying. The show's coming back, but don't tell anyone because I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. So whatever you do, don't mention it anywhere or tell anyone. But the rave lockdown, in some way, you know, people say where there's a will, there's a way. It'll be back. It's going to be on BBC Sounds. Don't worry. Don't. I didn't say any of this because they specifically said don't say it. But yeah, it's next Friday, whatever. So yeah, solo episode today. In the first half of the pod, I'm gonna do TripAdvisor, of course. Let's find something great. We'll look at the worst reviews for it, and we'll just have a bit of a laugh with it. And what's great is some people have been sending me their own in the last couple of weeks, which is good. Going, look at this restaurant. They always reply to the people, so I'll get through as many of those as possible. And then we'll do listeners' questions as well, because loads of people sent in questions, and it's a nice time. It's a really, really nice time. The sun is out. I feel like you know, I think it was yesterday they said there was no COVID deaths in Northern Ireland or the South, and that's class. You know, I think everyone's just, especially when the weather's good, just everything's a wee bit better. I think when the weather's good, you know, if you're kind of like, if you're all right, and I just look at days like this, big Van Morrison here, and think about like when we get back to stand up, it would be really cool to do some outdoor stuff, because I think that'll be the first way stand up comes back, and I'm ready for it. Your boy's ready for it, whatever it is. I've been in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to get this damn label off. That's Dr. Dre lyrics, but I'm back to writing loads of stand up, which is good. You know, it's really good, and we're working on the tour. I think we're waiting on one venue to get back to us, and the tour's going to be rescheduled for February kind of time. And then in between, as soon as stand up comes back, I am ready. I'm going to pounce on it. Like, you know, in the airport, whenever you see like a couple who haven't seen each other in about a year and they just jump all over each other and snog and stuff, that's what I'm going to do to gigs when I come back. Not snog, because, you know, comedians have you know, sort of tried to kiss people and done various things in the recent past, and it hasn't panned out well for them at all. But maybe after coronavirus, a lot of people will come back. You know, a lot of guys who maybe are in the shadows, who have maybe been hashtag cancelled. You know, they might just be like, you know, in a way, it's a wee bit like when I did my cycling proficiency test in primary school. I think I've told this story before in the podcast, and I failed my cycling proficiency test, and then just at the end of the day, they went, all right, if you got told you passed, go to this side of the hall. If you got told you failed, go to this side of the hall. And I just went with everyone who passed, and got my certificate. So anytime I ride a bike now, it's a lie. You know, it adds so much to it for me. Though anytime I cycle, I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this. Even though you can cycle without the cycling proficiency test. What about whenever you're driving along at like a nice speed, you're under the speed limit, and a car overtakes you? Why is there always a guy driving with sunglasses on, staring straight ahead, and why does his wife always make eye contact with you? Like, you shouldn't be driving under the speed limit. Anytime. Genuinely happened on the way back to the house today from going for a walk. Guy overtakes me in a Volkswagen Golf. He just cruises on, because of course I'm looking like this. I'm going, what are you doing? You know, I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. Oh yeah, you'll get there so much faster. But there's always like, the wife she's always really small, like quite low down in the seat for some reason. And whenever you drive past, for no reason at all, she looks at you like this. You know, she's looking at you like, this is my husband. My husband drives fast. You know, and I don't know why that's a thing, but I would prefer it if it didn't happen. Let's get into a TripAdvisor, guys. Let's do it, because you know, not a lot of things are happening at the minute. Not a lot of things are happening, including English. So what I like to do is just get into a TripAdvisor. We're gonna find somewhere in Northern Ireland that has bad reviews and good reviews, but we're only gonna focus on the bad ones. Let's do for TripAdvisor this week. Let's do McDonald's in Belfast. Let's do McDonald's at Boucher, because I think that's going to be the first one to open. Now, I am not a big McDonald's fan, but since lockdown, I've been craving a McDonald's. You know, your boy likes to get a Big Mac meal, no cheese, He likes 6 nuggets, chips, and a Coke. Twice a year, I'm gonna have a McDonald's. But if it comes back, like if McDonald's gets reopened, I think I probably would go. But let's look at some TripAdvisors for McDonald's. Yeah, okay, Boucher. Yeah, let's look at TripAdvisor reviews of Boucher Road McDonald's and just see what people. Let's get a flavour for it, just to see if when lockdown restrictions get lifted, if this is somewhere I would like to go for a nice slap up meal. Here we go. So we're going to filter by the word. So obviously on TripAdvisor you can rate something excellent, very good, average, poor, or terrible. Let's only filter the terrible. Okay. And let's see what we've got here. Nick writes first and says, just in the header, ignorant. Asked for no salad on burgers, got salad. Didn't ask for a large, got large. Sounds like a rap. Asked for no salad on burgers, get salad. Didn't ask for a large, got large. Girl who was taking order in drive-thru kept asking, is that it? Is that it? Before we could finish our order. I mean, they 1000% do that. Hi, yeah, I was wondering, is that it? No, sorry, I was basically saying I was wondering if I could get a Big Mac. Is that everything? Well, yeah. And then you just get through the end and you wait for your food and all you get is her giving you a dirty look. See ya. She's that. She grows up to be the woman in the car who's overtaking you. Overcooked food, not good. Corey says, Boucher Road McDonald's facing the balls and the falls. Poorly run. Badly managed. They couldn't give a care in the world if they gave customers chips that had been lying for half an hour over. They don't care that the pies are out of time. They just pull the sticker off. The staff treat you like dirt, and they treat you like you're just another number. Why is this guy's heart so broken over this? Someone mature couple writes, worst McDonald's ever, which is so immature. Ironically, the most immature sentence I've ever heard. I ordered for my wife a double cheeseburger meal and chicken bacon meal for myself. My wife's cheeseburger was cold. The bacon in my chicken bacon sandwich is barely cooked. I brought it back and was offered a replacement that I got 5 minutes later, by which time the rest of the meal was freezing. He's spinning plates here. Nobody cared. Nobody was interested. As a customer, I didn't matter. Does the manager wish to comment? Don't think I'll ever call into this branch again. Shit. Staff are too ignorant. Avoid unless you want dirty looks and all the staff looking and talking about you while you're trying to eat. The girl on the till that served me was called Annalise or something. Like Annalise or something, or like Rebecca. And she was the worst person to be greeted by. She had no manners whatsoever. She kept giving me dirty looks. Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? But at the same time, if you go to McDonald's, you're going for convenience, you're going for it's cheap. I don't expect to walk in and have one of the waiters go, hello, sir, how are you? Having a great day? That's great to see. What about the weather outside? Anyway, take a seat and we'll bring out our processed cardboard. Let's get into some real passionate reviews here. Paddy writes, he gives it 1 star, obviously. And he writes, the coronavirus is picking up pace, which is definitely a weird way to start a TripAdvisor review of McDonald's and Boucher. I figured me and the gang would get our last burgers in for probably a long time. Who the fuck is the gang? You can say that if you live in America. Hey, come on, me and the gang are going to get some burgers. Cool. What you can't do in Belfast is go, I think me and the gang are going to... Come on, the gang... I mean, I think the gang means... Loyalist paramilitary. 100% that's the gang. Oh my god, the gang. Presumably all sensible places are staying at home. Sensible people are staying at home to avoid contact, so the drive-through should be reasonably clear. And yes, we drive in to find only one punter in front of us, and he's a doggy lover. He thinks of the cute dog as a person so much that he's let his big dog hang out the driver's window. And of course the teenage girls who are employed by McDonald's are thrilled with this gorgeous pooch. Who the fuck wrote this? J.K. Rowling? So thrilled they pet it repeatedly. Not one of them washed their hands as we pull up to collect our food. I mean, yeah, do that, you know. If I hadn't already paid for the Happy Meals and drinks, I would have told them to keep it. The kind-hearted, oh yeah, mate, you would have lost at £3.20. You and the gang, you and the gang would be gutted. The gang have been looking forward to this for a long. Hey, let's get the gang together. Where are we going, on a mission in the Wild West? Me and the gang? Nah, butcher. What? All the female teen employees tapped the straws in their hand. Oh no, I don't understand that. Yeah, basically people like littered in the. For God's sake, as if it's not. It's not as if viruses are jumping around from animal to animal. In brackets, Wuhan. We're thinking of going plant based this month, so what does it matter? Pity she wasn't singing happy birthday as they washed their hands. Oh man, that's fucking terrible. Patty again gets in touch 3 months later. You know it's gonna be good when the heading is drugs in my kid's Happy Meal. Some kids will be absolutely buzzing. Drugs in my kid's Happy Meal. My son and I went to the drive-thru. We ordered 2 Happy Meals and chicken nuggets and 1 cheeseburger. When we opened the meals, we found a leaf of marijuana amongst the fries. Son, how are your chips there? Not cool, Dad. Marijuana. How do you know, son? I don't. I just guessed. How much of a legend is that McDonald's employee? He's like, I don't just want to give them a Happy Meal. I don't know how happy they're going to be. Hold on a second. Let me call my dealer here. Salt Bay and marijuana into a Happy Meal. I mean, yeah, a lot of guys would be absolutely buzzing with that. You would be absolutely ripping though, your wee son in the back. Alright, son, what's that in your hand there? You're halfway through eating it. Oh, marijuana. Enjoyable. My son's 5. I contacted the manager. He seemed sympathetic on the phone. When I presented him with the marijuana leaf, he became defensive on behalf of the staff and tried to convince me it was a piece of lettuce. Even though I'm professionally trained to identify drugs such as marijuana as part of my job. He's a drug dealer. Hold on, let me get the. Luckily for me, I had a microscope in the boot. Lucky for me, I have my drug testing kit with me. That old chestnut. Hey, can I have a bit of iceberg lettuce from a burger? Hey, wait a minute. This is unacceptable. I mean, yeah, it is. It definitely is in the kids' Happy Meal. The fact that this was in a children's meal means it should be taken seriously. What I like there is he's basically being like, I mean, if it's a Big Mac for an adult, these things happen. Something doesn't taste right in my Smarties McFlurry. Oh no, ease. What? This chicken McNuggets, the flavour in this is all. Has this been dipped in poppers? I am professionally trained. Drugs and kids' Happy Meal. Oh well, they just have fun at McDonald's here. Fuck, you're not gonna believe this, Cheryl. You're not gonna believe this. There was cat in the wee man's fillet of fish. Oh no, he sent photos in. Oh. Hey, Paddy. Just gotta say, brother, I am not really a big drug guy, as everyone will be aware because I've just said the phrase big drug guy. But yeah, I mean, I don't look like I take drugs. I look like the sort of 32-year-old policeman who would go, like in a comedy film, I would go into high school to try and go undercover to catch people with drugs. That isn't marijuana, mate, and I'm not even professionally trained despite your years of extensive training. It definitely is lettuce. You know, 100% is lettuce. I mean, what's more believable? It's lettuce that they also put in nearly all their food, or one of the McDonald's workers just had like a big massive bit of marijuana in his eyebrow. Didn't realise it when he left the house. That's very, very enjoyable. Manager has a stinking attitude. Absolutely fuming. This is from Leona. Absolutely fuming. Went through Boucher drive-thru this evening and ordered 2 separate meals. One for my partner, one for myself. Drove home only to realise my order was completely wrong, which is fine as it's a simple mistake. In brackets, we all make them. Preach, sister. So drove back up to the drive-thru to swap the order. I mean, I definitely wouldn't go back. It depends how far away you live. When arriving at the second window to exchange orders, I'm greeted by the manageress, who had the most disgusting attitude. It's as though this was my fault and I was an inconvenience to her. She swapped the meals when I went to hand her the juice from the previous meal. She refused to exchange it for a new one, insisting it was fine. I've never been as insulted by a McDonald's employee as I have been tonight. Will definitely not be back to the Boucher Road branch. I mean, these people must be so fuming that they can't wait. Like, I guarantee she still had McDonald's on her fingers as she was typing that on her laptop. Furious. Don't know what it is about McDonald's drive-thru. They seem to get the order wrong 99% of the time, says Sean. Well, why are you going, mate? Find other places. Came here today, asked for a quarter pounder with no cheese, which is what I was given according to the sticker on the outside of the box. When I got home, I discovered there was fresh onions in the burger, despite the label saying no fresh onions. I understand this is a trivial thing in the grand scheme of things. I mean, yeah, it is. Coronavirus. But it keeps happening, and clearly after reading some of the other reviews, it happens a lot. The management at this place clearly don't care, as they have not responded to anyone here. So only option is to take this to corporate headquarters. Oh, that was wee midgie. Sean, you're right, mate. You're absolutely right. Never get an order right. Staff fight with each other behind the counter. Drive-thru made me go and park and bring the order out with stuff missing. Yeah. I mean, people just are not. So yeah, people just giving off. Okay, last one. Geza gets in touch, very Belfast name, and says, Boucher Road staff appalling. Went to the drive-thru with my kids. They wanted milkshakes and McFlurries with their meals, but I was told the machine wasn't working, which they never seemed to be, this person says in brackets, immediately putting the air of suspicion into the atmosphere. I got to the collection window and there were McFlurries sitting for the order beside mine. When I asked why, I was told the machine wasn't working when others behind me in store seemed to be getting there's no problem. The girl then called the manager and explained why, while herself and the manager proceeded to think this was hilarious and laugh in my face to say I wasn't best pleased was an understatement. They were rude and didn't care how they treat customers and won't be back. Absolute disgrace. Yeah, I mean, bad, somebody says. Yeah, I mean, not ideal at all. Can we just find, like, let's find the ultimate. Let's find one that's really gonna. I mean, I'm gonna go for a different McDonald's. I'm gonna go for the one at Conswater, Conswater. Yeah, I want a big one to finish here, because that's what we like. You know what I mean? We like hearing about people that are just ripping, people that are giving off about bad customer service. It's mad that you would go home and do it. I even at the time, I'd never be that fuming. I just love the headings of these. Beyond belief. Mark says, regularly visit for breakfast at weekend and honestly can say that in 3 years, the staff have very rarely got my order correct. The definition, though, Mark, of madness is, I think, doing the same thing loads of times and expecting a different outcome. I usually order for 6 people. Alright, you've loads of mates. You're hard. Every week, one person will have no food or the wrong food. Full sugar drinks instead of diet and coffee instead of hot chocolate, which isn't good when we have diabetics and one child is allergic to caffeine. I can't have that caffeine. The funny thing is, when we go back to complain, there's always a queue of people doing the same. They must waste some food. Anyway, so fed up this morning, just have to drive to another one instead. Pure joke, don't know how hard it is for staff to read orders and check them. Disgraceful. Yeah, I think I would very much enjoy a McDonald's at the minute though. And like sometimes I even prefer it when there's a wee bit of bad customer service. As long as you get the food that you want, I kind of do like it when person has a bit of a bad attitude and you can laugh. You're laughing at them and they don't realize. What's yours? And you go, hiya. Like I'm always really overly polite to those people, but it doesn't register with them. What? every McDonald's window in Belfast, you pull up to it. What do you want? Do you think you're fucking class? Do you? Do you think you're mad? Is that it? Fuck off. Oh, could I just order some food? No. Yes, you can at Burger King. Ba da ba ba ba. Fuck off. Ba da ba ba ba. Away you go. I'm gonna take another big sip of tea. Oh, that's good. Dave Elliott just texted me there. I should point out, this is the sort of friend I am. I'm godfather to Dave and Catherine's beautiful daughter Holly. And I like to inflict just a wee bit of misery on Dave because he's my friend, and that's a sign of friendship when you like to really like see your friend not doing too well. And whenever Holly was sort of able to walk for the first time around that kind of age, I bought her a roll-out piano that you stand on, like a mini wee piano mat, and she absolutely loved it. And I don't know if she still has it, but she used to just run up and down it, and I put Dave's head away. So their family dog passed away, big Mr. Charlie, R.I.P. And I said to Dave, I'm gonna send Holly some stuff just to cheer her up or whatever. And I got her a Peppa Pig teddy, like a big Peppa Pig teddy, and genuinely I was going to get her a wee toy electric guitar. I was like, what can I get that's really going to create... No, I was thinking like a pellet gun. Could I get her a pellet gun that she could shoot Dave with, like when he sleeps and stuff in the eyes? But what I settled on was like a kid's keyboard. And I wanted a loud one. And he texted my wife and said, thanks for the gifts, which was weird because she didn't pay for it. She didn't play any part in the purchasing of those particular gifts. I did all of it. So really, yes, it was a gift for both of us. But mainly, what I don't like it when you just do something and then you're thanked like as a couple or as a family. I think be specific with your thanks. Because if she bought it, or like if it was a gift for her friends and they thank me, I would go, listen, I can't accept. I would be like a high-ranking police chief, and someone's trying to give you a gift. I go, listen, as part of my job, I can't take that. I didn't do anything for it. So he texted her and was like, oh, thanks for this, but we don't have any batteries in the house. So here's the sort of guy I am. I'm going on to Amazon after this podcast to order him and get delivered from Amazon so many batteries. So anything I send her, and I might send her different stuff every week, a drum kit, a chainsaw, but like a kid's safe chainsaw, which, probably doesn't exist. All with batteries. I'm going to buy generators. I'm going to buy solar powered things just to make sure that happens. Because you know what? That makes me happy. And the thought of that might cheer some people up at the McDonald's drive-thru whenever they're going through. Wasn't too happy there. Why? Because there appeared to be crystal meth. Liquidized into my son's fruit shoot. So how do you think I feel? I'd like a refund, please. Alright, fair enough. That actually is pretty bad. Guys, we're going to be back in the second half of the pod with the listeners' questions. So many good listeners' questions this week. We'll get through them all. See you in a little bit of a second. Sippers, let me quickly interrupt the Tea With Me podcast to plug two things. Numero one, the Patreon. Patreon.com/Tea With Me podcast. We do this podcast on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The Monday episode is a bonus episode. It only goes out in Patreon. Also, I'm getting my stand-up edited from the Waterfront Hall last year in Belfast, and it's just going to go out on the Patreon at first. I'll put little clips on Facebook and YouTube and all that kind of thing. But if you want the full thing, maybe you want to do like a world premiere in your house. I would like that. You want to put on a suit. You want to get your mum sort of like dolled up, pearl earrings on. Very long white gloves, sipping a martini. I like it. Okay, I would really like that. I would like people to get dressed up in suits and dresses whenever I put this on and just say, like, watching the Wee Man world premiere, hashtag Money Toad Productions. It's not Money Toad Productions. But yeah, that's going to go on the Patreon. Also, me and producer Dan are sorting out a live episode, which is likely to be the 14th of June. Oh, shit. Guests on. You get a wee code for Zoom if you're a Patreon. It's free for Patreons. Patreon.com/teawithmepodcast. That's the only way you get to see it. And at the same time, I know not everyone can support the Patreon. So if you can't, listen, it's all good. I still love you. You still love me. It's fine. Also, yeah, I want to plug Waterfront Hall. So my Waterfront Hall show was... Would you guys mind anyone watching a video podcast if I put my leg up a wee bit like that? Hopefully that's okay and doesn't offend you too much. My video podcast comes out on the... No, it doesn't. So there you go. And the thing is, that's why producer Dan should be breaking lockdown. That's why he should be on a ladder at my spare room window here. Because, I don't know if you guys know this, but I had to move out. I don't think you do. I had to move out of my studio room, which was the box room in our house, because of the baby. And that's, instantly sly behaviour from the baby, throw me out of my office. So you guys probably think I've got some like unreal setup. You guys probably think I'm in like an airplane hangar, but I'm not. I'm just looking at my spare room. There's slide robes. Weird flex, just telling you that I have slide robes. There's my makeup chair, and all stuff. There's my green screen and cabinet. What I'm saying is, the Money Toad is not in his natural environment. His natural environment, though, is the stage doing stand-up. My Waterfront Hall show in Belfast was supposed to be in September, but we had to move it back because of the old COVID. So we've put it back to the 6th of February. There isn't that many tickets left. I think it's pretty close to selling out last time I got told. So if you want to go to that, go on the Waterfront Hall website and come and see me. Why do you never come and see me? So yeah, come check that out. On with the pod. Sip, sip. Sippers, welcome back to the second half of the Tea With Me podcast, where we just go in hard on listeners' questions. We have quite a few of them this week, and we'll get it going. Rebus gets in touch, big friend of the podcast, big sipper, says, we all know there's nothing better than tea, but like all things, tea can have a dark side. I previously mentioned making my mum boke when she sipped on my bag. Now, there's more to that sentence, but I made my mum boke when she sipped on my bag, and like my brain stopped and just sort of like let that sentence sink in, but there's more to it. My mum boked when she sipped on my bag that I'd accidentally left in the cup. But my question is, what's your worst experience involving tea? I'm pretty sure that's happened to me before, where I've gone to drink a tea and realised the tea bag was there, and then I've gone to drink it a bit, and then the tea bag has hit the back of my throat, and I've nearly been sick or like spat the tea back in. That's not been good. When tea goes down the wrong way, it's doubly bad, because it goes back the wrong way and you have a coughing fit, but then you cough the hot tea over yourself, so you're getting like 12th degree burns, like nothing too serious. Unless, I don't know the way degree burns work. Is like 1st degree burns the worst, or are they the best to get? I don't know, but that's something that we should look into, and if there's any fireman sippers listening, let me know. Or women. Like fireman women, not firemen or just women. Ideally, you work for the fire service regardless. I don't know why your gender's important. What's my worst experience involving tea? Probably, this isn't the anecdote, by the way, that I do in stand-up about ordering tea in America. After I had told that, when I was in America again, to prove to you that all this stuff's real, I was in Chicago, and which up until I went on that trip, I was calling Chicago, but there's no R in there, so I'm back to calling it Chicago. But at some point in the future, I might actually start calling it Chicago again, because it just sounds better to me. But I was there, and beside the comedy club I was playing, there was a really like hipster coffee place, and I went in, and of course, I'm only looking for tea, because one of my like pre-gig traditions is I like to have a cup of tea to walk into the show with, like to sit backstage sipping on a wee cup of tea, keeps me nice and calm. And I went into this place, and there was a very sexy guy serving me, but like at the same, like he was a guy, but there was gender. What would you say? What would be the best way to say this? There was certainly more than one gender in this guy's trunk, if that makes sense. Like, he had a lot of makeup on. His gear was kind of like, some of it was like what a man would traditionally wear. Some of it was straight up fishnet, and I liked it. And I'll be honest, he bewitched me a bit, and I could tell like he liked me, like especially when I, because he liked the accent and stuff. And it was definitely weird. I mean, I stayed with him for about a week after that, but yeah, I ordered tea from this guy. First of all, I think he was enchanted that I was the first person to order breakfast tea in there, because everyone was just having coffees. And so he makes my tea, and he leaves it sitting on the counter, but like slightly too far back, so I couldn't reach it. And I was like, do I go to grab this, or is he going to slide it on to me? And I went to grab it, and he went, honey, it's a 3-minute brew. And I said, right, but I said, I'm actually from Ireland. And he said, what does that mean? And I was like, oh, we don't normally like wait. That is holding a cup of tea back, but I can still see my tea even after I paid for it, is the biggest Irish cock tease of all time. I paid for it. I was ready to drink it. Who waits 3 minutes? Like, I drink a tea. I like to burn my throat when I drink tea. I like that tea hot. But he's like, all the science to it. And that's happened to me, by the way, in Established in Belfast, which I like. It's a lovely spot, but I've gone in before. And the guy said to me, bro, just to let you know, it's a 4-minute brew, okay? And I'm like, okay, bro, I'll be drinking it in 3 seconds. Dude, just to let you know, this is a 94-minute brew. will not be cold though. Yeah, but then we stick it in the microwave. Oh, right, okay. That genuinely happened to me in Established. Dude, just to let you know, the ideal temperature is... let me stop you there, because I finished it. Is it? Or do I think do I treat tea like a Jaeger bomb? Bro, just to let you... Oh, fuck, he's drank it. You're barred. This guy just head to toe in Carhartt hat, straight rim. Weird when people have a straight rim at the top, unless they're the rapper Fat Joe. Carhartt jacket, Carhartt t-shirt, Carhartt jeans, Puma King football boots with studs in. Why do you have those? It's a new thing, dude. Dude, it's a... Dude, this is a very special brew. Just like, you don't have to do this, but bro, it's a very special brew where what you need to do is, as soon as I pour this, if you run up to the top of Cave Hill and do a wee and come back, that's a perfect brew. Dude, if you want to chop off your finger, it's the perfect brew. Just, here's the thing, my rule, my policy: pour me it and step away. Pour me it and leave me to it. But yeah, that was the embarrassing moment I had, where the guy basically didn't want to give me it, and I wanted my tea. And I think it was a 3-minute brew or something, he said. I think I managed to get it after about 90 seconds, but he was ripping that I hadn't waited the whole time, and I was ripping that I had to wait even longer than that. But he was a real cute, sexy guy. RJ says, who's your ideal guest to have for tea? My ideal guest to have for tea for the podcast, like say we do a live one, my ideal guest would probably be... I think Kim Jong-un would be pretty sweet to have on, because there's not going to be a shortage of things to talk about, for sure. I would want to know a lot of things, like, mate, what's the crack with all the stuff you guys are doing? I would go, mate, North Korea, mate, what are you guys up to? My first question to Kim Jong-un would be, and this is why I should interview, if they're like, okay, a Western journalist is going to get to interview Kim Jong-un, this is why it should be me. My first question: Kim, mate, I'd probably be dead at that point. They'd probably execute me at that point for showing disrespect by calling him mate. But I go, Kim, chum, what are you guys up to? That'll be my first and probably only question. I would really enjoy that. But my ideal guest, I don't know. I'd like to have... Maybe Serene McKellen. I think Serene McKellen would be a lot of fun. I could definitely see him drinking tea out of like quite a small cup. I think he'd like that and he'd really enjoy his tea. Like, I think he'd have the pinky out. He'd take a bit of time. Stephen Fry for the same reason. Attenborough. Let's get Attenborough on the live podcast. Let's try and do that. Let's just get a lot of old guys on. I think Attenborough would be pretty great. Yeah, let's maybe get J.K. Rowling on as well, just because I mentioned her earlier, and I kind of I like Harry Potter. Let's get Daniel Radcliffe on. Dream guest De Niro would be pretty cool. I would like to have Pamela Valentine. I just see it as being like a guest, like guest heavy. I say we get like 4 guests on. We get a musical guest. We have a musical guest who's agreed to do it, which will be class to play out the show. George Michael, God rest him. I would like if they were able to somehow, and I don't know if they can, but bring George back. Hashtag BGB. I would have definitely enjoyed that. Let's go outside in the sunshine. What I really like is, and this is a little bit off topic, but George Michael got arrested for like having sex in public with some fella, and he I think a lot of people were like, you should be ashamed, George, having sex. I think he was having sex in like public toilets, and at the same time though, boys will be boys. And what I really like is people were like, George, you should be ashamed of yourself, and George Michael went, oh really? Yeah, let me write this song. And he had a song called Outside. Let's go outside in the sunshine. And I think that came out in 2009. No, 2008. And I remember that song came out when I was 10, and I remember singing it all the time. I know you want to. And I thought it was like George Michael Outside was a song about like playing outside, going to like play football with your mates, because like maybe you're in the house all day, and then it's like, let's go outside in the sunshine. And I really enjoyed that. But then I realized that it's not about that. It's about George getting outside with like gentlemen friends, and just having a good time. I think is that song? I think I'm done with so far. Yeah, it is Outside. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was the wrong song for a second. Let's go outside in the sunshine. I know you want to, but you can't stay here. Take me to the places that I love best. George wasn't talking about his local football pitch. He was talking about public toilets, and I like it that the guy just totally owned that moment. There's nothing here but flesh and bone. There's nothing more. Let's go outside in the sunshine. Oh yeah, and yes, I've been bad. Doctor, won't you do with me what you can? I think about it all the time. I'd service the community. But I already have, you see. Unreal from George. I think he got community service for it, and he says, I'd service the community, but I already have, you see. He's service guys. Unbelievable. Absolutely love that from Geordie. I loved him. Let's go outside when the moon is high and the grass is jumping. Come on, just keep on funkin', keep on funkin', keep on funkin'. And I think by that, he means replace the F with an S. Disrespectful, but at the same time, love you, George, man. Genuinely, I think he was class. Owen Matheson says, by the way, watch the George Michael video where he sings Somebody to Love, the Queen song. I think it was before Live Aid. Queen, the band, were like warming up without Freddie Mercury, and George just sings with him backstage. Every artist involved in Live Aid, like the biggest artist in the world at the time, just watched George absolutely spellbound, because the guy's class. Owen Matheson said, if you had to live in a non-English speaking country, which one would you choose and why? A non-English speaking country, probably France or Spain, because I did those languages at school, at GCSE, and I think it wouldn't take that long before I understood a little bit of what people were saying. Portugal as well. Like, I didn't do Portuguese at school. That'd be weird. I don't think anyone did Portuguese at school in Northern Ireland, but obrigado, I can say that. I mean, Spanish is probably... I probably was better at French in school than I was at Spanish, but I prefer French. But then again, I always think at the start of lockdown, I was like, if I learn a language, I'm going to learn Spanish. But I absolutely haven't. I mean, I've actually not thought about it in any way. So if anything, I've learned less Spanish since lockdown started because I haven't thought in any way about learning Spanish. But that would be pretty cool. I also think it'd be absolutely boss to just know Cantonese, but not tell any of your mates, and then go to Hong Kong. Is that? I think that's where they speak Cantonese in Hong Kong. And then just so many people are going to mug me off if that's wrong. But I would like to go to Cantona and just be fluent in front of your mates. I think that'd be a pretty nice time. Mark Murhead, would you rather be attacked by 12 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? 12 duck-sized horses, not a problem. I have massive feet, so I think it'd be sweet. Prom Sandwich says, dinner date, Michelle or Arlene? I mean, that is the most quintessential, stereotypical Northern Irish comedy podcast question. It's always, Michelle or Arlene? Michelle, Arlene, snog, marry, kill, that kind of thing. Look, they're both doing a tough job at the minute. Let's give them a little bit of space, a bit of love, a bit of respect. And as soon as this is over, let's get back to, check out the grill there, roasting. Okay, let's get back to roasting them. But for now, just like wait until they've sorted it all out. Baz says, what's the best tabloid to catch up on all the paramilitary goss? You guys know I love paramilitary goss. I would say definitely the Sunday World. You know, the Sunday Life, I feel like it likes to think that it's got a little bit more glamour and class to it. You know, they like to do like a little bit more celebrity stuff. They like to be, you know, they've got their entertainment pull out, I think, and it's a little bit more like knitted jumpers and like two hands over a big cup of coffee, that kind of thing. But they just can't help it. Like sometimes when a bit of paramilitary goss comes out, you know, they're probably thinking, okay, we're set this week, we're going to have the front page, we're going to have Maliki Kush talking about a new rug that he's got in his caravan, and we're going to do a lovely feature. But then at the same time, the paramilitaries will do something, and the editors probably go, alright then, fire it on the front page, come on, let's get involved. Whereas the Sunday World are all about paramilitaries, like 100%. Like, I genuinely think if there was going to be like a full, like, if all the paramilitaries went, listen, we're stopping business, we're all getting out of the game after coronavirus, I think the Sunday World would go, listen, don't be stopping, because the people need this. People need the goss, you know? So, I don't know. I feel like the Sunday World is probably where you're going to get it. But when the Life does it, it's good because you know that they dropped a wee, like, local celebrity story to do it. Sunday World, fantastic. I did a bit in my old stand-up show, which you'll see on the Patreon show from last year, about our paramilitary nicknames and why they're so great. You know, the paramilitaries aren't great, but the nicknames are. Like the way they call guys like Fatback and stuff. Billy Fatback Thompson. You know, I made that one up, but it's entirely plausible. I love that because nowhere else does that in the world. So yeah, probably the World. Like, I'm surprised the World don't do. I'm sure in the past they've done like calendars. You know, like Sexy Paramilitary Boys, 1994. Just all the guys in stonewashed denims, six-pack and hoop earrings, blonde curtains. Fuck, I got a wee bit excited thinking about that there. Giles Strutt says, morning Shane, hope things are well with you. Oh, thanks very much, man, they are. What are your thoughts on Boris's right-hand man breaking lockdown rules? Justified or no? This is where my ignorance comes out. I don't watch or read the news. I know that this guy called Dominic Cummings like drove quite far away to see his wife and kids or something, and then spoofed about it, and then came out and basically said, I'm not sorry, and I'm not saying sorry, no bastard. So I don't know, was he justified? I've no idea. I don't know enough about the story, Giles, but it seems that the reason people are probably so pissed off is you can't be the person that gives the advice saying you can't do these things and then you do the thing. I think everyday people like us, you could like in some way break the rules and then go, oh fuck, here, actually I apologise, I wasn't too clear on the rule. I think it's easy to be unclear as long as you're not taking the piss. I think it's easy to be unclear on the rules by a bit, and then if someone corrects you, go, oh shit, actually I had no idea, you know. But I think when you're the guy whose job it is to go, here's what we're doing, and then you don't do the thing, yes, dick, you know. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I know that on Radio Ulster, it's been in the press that Nuala McKeever, when she was doing her show, was like the mics were down, or she thought, and then they went to the news or something, and I think she was talking about that story and called Dominic Cummings a name. I think that's more ridiculous. That people are like, that's terrible. No way. That show needs to go. Hey, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Some people went, no way, you can't. She's doing a show on BBC, and you have to be not biased. Yes, but she didn't think the mics were on. You know what I mean? It's different if you came back from a song and went, that was Fleetwood Mac and Dreams. Dominic Cummings is a twat. You know, let's go to Barabest for the weather. I think that you almost forget about that kind of behaviour because we're in lockdown and you don't see it as much. But you forget that will come back. People that comment that kind of thing, or maybe I'm just not seeing it as much because I'm not up to date with the news. These people who clearly have never made any sort of slight mistake in their lives, and they're like, no, you can't say a bad word even if you're off, or you just can't do it. You know, these are the same people who probably kick pigeons to death. I think that's mental. I think that's absolutely mental. And you know, listen, if you would expect that of anybody on local radio, it's your boy here, me and Dave. I mean, something like that is going to happen to us at some point. And it's just human. Like, it's a very, very simple error to make, but it's not even really an error. You know what I mean? Like that, I didn't plan to talk about this, but it just pisses me off a bit. It just pisses me off because people are like, oh, it's a personal opinion. Yes, but it wasn't intended for broadcast. You fucking idiot. Anyway, Nathan Morrow says, is Earl Grey tea just for the middle class? We're haters of Earl Grey tea on this podcast. It doesn't really get respected amongst the sippers. You know, if you show up to a sipper event with your own Earl Grey, you'll be accepted because technically it is tea. But at the same time, you're going to be shunned a bit. Like, there will be a separate Earl Grey table, and we'll probably probably end up like beating the shit out of those guys and stealing their lunch money. I don't know. Is it a middle class thing? Yes. Earl Grey's definitely a middle class thing. Like, if you went into, you know, Greasy Spoon Cafe in Belfast, Castle Street or whatever, and you went, here, could I have a tea there as well, please? Yes, no problem. How do you take your tea? Earl Grey? You would expect to be turfed out 100%. You would expect to be in McGabry that night. So, yeah, it is a middle class. I don't think anyone enjoys Earl Grey. I don't. Connor says that so whenever I posted the call for questions for this, I'd really quiffed my hair up. In fact, I hadn't intentionally done it. My hair was just a little bit out of control, and he said at that point that I'm starting to look like the always loved and missed Stephen Clements with my hair like that. And I absolutely get what you mean by that, because anytime I would go to do Stephen Clements' show, like on Q Radio, when he was there, then I didn't do his Radio Ulster show, but when he was on Q, his quiff was always beyond perfect. And I remember I think I maybe even asked him, I was like, here's the thing with my quiff, right? When my quiff sits well, if I go out and it's windy or it's raining or whatever, day ruined. My quiff will not withstand it. But Stephen Clements always had a phenomenal quiff. You know, and it was a little bit wild as well. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, I play it safe. Like, when I have a quiff, it's just like a clump of hair up in one direction. But he had like different layers to it. He had little bits going off both sides. And that, for some reason, that gave me a real laugh, that comment, because whenever I think of Stephen, one of the first things I think is Stephen always had absolutely perfect hair, which is a really weird thing to think. And Stephen, I can't remember what I saw on social media recently. It was something about Stephen Clements, and what a guy. I know this is all like kind of off topic, but he was class. We talked about him on I think maybe an episode of this I talked about it, but we did on the Boytown podcast as well, because Dave had been on the show before, and we'd met him at a couple of things, and just a the nicest guy. Like, honestly, the nicest guy. I always say this about him. Whenever you, like, if I hadn't seen him in a while or whatever, and a couple of times maybe met for a coffee, he would ask you, like, what are you up to at the minute? What are you working on? And then a second question would be, is there any way I can help? And it's rare, because so many people do ask, like, what are you up to? But they're only asking sometimes, like, obviously, because they want to then tell you actually what they're doing, which they think's better, or they want to, like, get in with it or something like that. He just wanted to know, like, is there anybody I can introduce you to, or can I give you advice on this if it's like a radio thing or a broadcast thing? And man, he was just the nicest guy. And I mean, obviously it's totally different for close friends and family, but I still don't think of him as not being here. You know what I mean? Like, I just think, oh, I haven't seen him in a while, or I haven't heard his show for a little bit, and it's mad. It just doesn't. It only feels like last week when I was at a meeting and someone told me that he had passed away. But, like, what a guy! Love that guy. So yeah, that gave me a nice smile and a good laugh, Connor. So he says, what he's basically asking me what I do with my hair, and I think a lot of people will want to know: do I buy the 49p Tesco and brand hair gel, or do I go for the posh £4 gear? I used to, in my younger days, whenever I just did a flick, like all young lads did, which was you gel your hair down with Wet Look Chemist's gel, which was like, 49p for 12 litres. In fact, a man came around, like when he's delivering oil, a man came around in a van and put it into your bathroom, and there was a bucket, and he just shot some gel in. That sounds very sexual. But yeah, you combed your hair down at the front, and then you flicked up the front of it, so the front just went up like a big wedge. I definitely did do that until I was about 13. And then I think at that age, people experiment at that age with a lot of different things, but the main thing guys experiment with is different hair products, because at that age you go, what's this? Clay? Matte clay? What? I don't even know what that is now. Wax? You know what I mean? Like, whenever the barber went, here, do you want a bit of wax? You're like, oh, what's wax? Yes. Brill cream, all that kind of stuff. So it definitely took me a while for me to find my product, but my product is called Dear Barber. I think you can order it online. I don't think they sell it in, like, chemists. Also, my battery just died, so someone had the last question, but I'm not going to go down and get my charger, because that's the level of dickhead that I am. Dear Barber. So my hairdresser Mikey cuts, works in Harmony Hair in Bangor, cuts my hair, Dave's hair. Obviously he doesn't spend as long on Dave's hair, because you wouldn't need to, because Dave is a bald guy with hair, which is weird. I don't know how that works, but he is. But yeah, Mikey gives me this stuff called Dear Barber, which is class. It's like I would describe it as like a matte. I don't know what it is. It's white, but I like it. I think it's good. And then sometimes, what about when you use new hair product and it makes your hair go a bit white, like in bits, like not dandruff, but in bits, and you just have a bad day? It's probably the worst thing of all time. But what I would love to do is bring back Chemist's hair gel. That 49p stuff. I think that would be a lot of fun. I'm actually chatting to some people right now, like TV type people, about an idea that's set in about 1996. So I want to be in this thing because I've written it. So obviously I'm gonna give myself a role. What are you gonna do? And and if they say, listen, we don't see you as being right for being in this, but would you be up for just being the writer and letting someone else be in it? I would obviously say no. And I want my character to have curtains in it. I think that would be pretty sweet. I would just like to have curtains. So I've essentially written an entire screenplay so that I can play a character with curtains, because I think that'd be pretty class. And I could actually do like look at this. My hair's wild. My hair's wild. I got my wife to like do the side and back just with the kitchen scissors. And that's sweet. I'm loving the long mane. And I know it's not a meme, but I think I'm going to keep it like pretty long, unless hairdresser's open tomorrow, in which case I'll just get a buzz cut. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I do know also, guys, I'm just letting you all know, I'm not fishing for anything here. It's my birthday on the 9th of June. So I don't know what you all want to do between you, like the Sipper community or whatever. If you want to like send me cars, give me property in Majorca. I don't know what it is you want to do, or just cash. But you just have a long while to think of it. 9th of June, I'm going to do a birthday episode, I think. And let's just get like, maybe producer Dan could arrange some surprise guests. I would really like that. And not tell me. And we'll just do a Zoom and people can pop in and out. I think that would be a lot of fun. 9th of June, your boy turns. Get ready for this, guys. 32. But how's that possible, man? You look like a 22-year-old German fisherman. I know. I'm well aware. I don't know. I just keep defying science. That's the thing, and let's just keep enjoying that while it lasts. What I want to do is thank everyone, by the way, who sent in the TripAdvisor recommendations. I was a little bit unprepared for the podcast today, and people going, yeah, man, we can definitely tell. I'm a little bit unprepared because the weather was so good, and I sat out sunbathing for ages, and then I didn't want to spend too much time prepping at the same time, because then I would have to be inside doing that, and I would just want to I'll just record the episode and then I'll get back into the sun, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And I'm not apologizing to anyone for that. I'm like the McDonald's staff at Boucher when you find marijuana in your kid's Happy Meal. I'm not apologizing to anyone. Enjoy it. It's lettuce. And that's the name of this week's podcast. Either drugs in my kid's Happy Meal, or it's just lettuce. Either way, it's going to be a good time. I'm going to plug the Patreon. Patreon.com/teawithmepodcast. I'll be back on Wednesday or Monday if you're a Patreon subscriber. And yeah, I hope everybody has a cracking weekend. Enjoy it. And remember, next Friday, you might have a bit of a soundtrack to help you through. That's all I'm saying. The Rave Lockdown, she thought she was coming back.